What up, what up, what up? Happy Saturday, I guess, yeah. My voice is a little off, but it is what that is. Yesterday, I couldn't really talk, and my kids are like, what happened to your voice? My voice is cracking, and I still, they're being, so I'm just like, listen to what I said. But it was worse. I wasn't smiling. There was nothing funny. But, yeah. But they kept asking, what happened? I'm like, you guys have never been sick before? Never had a sore throat? Come off that. But, yeah. So today, as a title, I guess it'll be the title. I changed the battery in my car. So I'm officially a man's man. It's a man's world. It's really not that hard. Really nothing about the car is that hard if you know what you're doing. And in 2024, if there ain't a video on YouTube showing you how to do it step by step in any flavor you want, people with the jokes, any gender, color, they're there. So I just watched a couple videos, and it is what it is. The hardest part was whoever did the car, whoever put the battery in the last time, they used some Frankenstein accessories, wing nuts and all this weird shit. So in the video, it's like, you just need these 3 tools. I actually needed a bunch of tools to figure out how to maneuver around shit. And finally, when it was all said and done, I went in there and I turned the key. And the shit was like, like what? I started again, and then I don't know the correct terminology, it kicks over, rolls over, it starts. So I did that 3 more times, and it seemed to be getting more stronger each time. But I haven't driven it yet. Not that the battery has anything to do with driving, it's just starting it up. But I'm a little nervous. I don't want that shit to blow up on me. So I'm gonna have to, I didn't go for a ride, and then I got the highest compliment that I can get from my dad. So I go into the house, and then my dad comes downstairs, and he says, is it in? So my dad, normally he'd be Mr. Nosy, he always watching what people are doing outside. But I was hoping I could get it done before he wakes up. So I'm like, yeah, it's in. And he's like, you bought it at AutoZone? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you don't seem so... Well, before all that happened, he said, is it in? Did it start? I'm like, yeah. And he gave me a little, not a good job, I'm proud of you, blah, blah, just a pat. I'll take it. But, yeah. It wasn't that hard. I would rather someone else do it, but, you gotta know this shit. So the next thing I had to figure out is how to change tires. We had some flood waters. That's why I'm down here. See the water. I would have, as always, I want to come down here when it's raining to see it all high and shit, but it's raining. You'd have to be high and shit to go out here in the rain to see it be high and shit. But, yeah, so the car is fixed. Last week, I had to take the bus Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it is what it is. I was catching the first bus just so I had some flex time in case I overslept or whatever. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. taking my shower at nighttime so I could just And I think I got sick from bus people. Not to throw shade at bus riding people, because I was a bus riding person. And it's not the worst thing. The bus came more or less on the time, and the app is like an Uber app looking thing, so you could see where the bus is, so you could time it out. I got a seat, was never standing. The one thing that's different, buses in Japan are actually worse. I mean, they come on time, but 8 million people be crammed up in a Japanese bus. And then when you're way in the back, you gotta do this dance all the way up to the top. Then you gotta shove your money into the thing. Better have a pass where these buses, or at least this route in particular, there was no one on it. Well, there's people on it, but I always got a seat. And no one sat with me. Only once did someone sit with me. And the next stop, they took the empty seat. But, yeah, and then on the bus, the first 3 days, I was able to read. Then I started feeling a little, the next time, third day. So I just fell asleep. And the rest of the day, I tried to read when I could read. But the highlight of bus riding, so I'm on the bus and this bus guy comes on and this bus woman sits down, and bus guy says, "Where are you going?" And bus girl says, "I'm going down to Bethlehem." And bus guy says, "Where'd you go to school?" And bus girl says, "I went to such and such." And bus guy said, "What year did you graduate?" And they just having this mad invasive conversation across seats. And then he's like, when you graduate, she's like, I signed myself out. He's like, "I didn't graduate either. I was in a coma." So then bus guy said, "Where are you coming from?" Bus girl says, "Coming from the jail." We have a prison jail thingy in our city, that city. Bus guy says, "What happened?" Bus girl says, "My brother just got locked up." Bus guy says, "What did he do?" Bus says, "He did armed robbery. He shot somebody." Bus guy says, "Oh my, what are the charges?" Like, they're just, they robbed the bank. And the whole time she's just like, like laughing, like, he got caught. So then bus guy goes over to sit next to bus girl, bus lady, whatever. And then bus lady's like, "Now I'm trying to read my book, but I can't unhear what I'm hearing." So she's like, "Yeah, my brother didn't do it. The other guy did it, but the other guy shot himself in the head and he's dead. My brother was innocent, but he was there. He was part of the plan." And then bus guy's just like, "Well, he'll probably get off on a technicality." And then bus like, "You think so?" And bus lady's like, "Yeah, my house got raided." He's like, "Oh my." Then bus guy's like, "Can I see the papers?" Then bus lady's like, "Here." And bus guy is going through it like he's legal beagle. And then bus guy says, so every time bus lady said something, bus guy's like, me too. Bus lady said, "I have to take a shit." Bus guy's like, "Me too." So then bus guy's like, "Where do you live?" Bus girl's like, "I live on 13th and Appleberry Street." Bus guy's like, "Me too." Like, this guy, what? So then finally, he goes, "If you ever need anything, I got you. You can't trust people nowadays." And bus lady's like, "I know. You can't trust anybody, not even your own family." Then bus guy's like, "But you can trust me. Do you have a phone?" And then bus guy proceeded to get bus lady's number. And he's like, call me. So she calls him. And then he's like, "Yep, that's me." And he's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "This is my name." And he's like, "That's my name." And he's like, "What's your mom's name?" And she's like, "It was such a weird, random conversation." I wish them the best. 20 years of life. Well, actually, it doesn't stop there, though. So then, bus lady gets off the bus and she says, "I promise I will call you on Friday." So then bus guy gets on the phone and he's like, "We're coming to our next stop." And then we get to the next stop, and then some lady gets on the bus, and then she like saddles up next to bus guy. And then bus guy's like, "How was your day?" And then bus lady's like, "Blah." So then bus lady, the second bus lady, she gets off the bus. She's like, "I love you." And then bus guy, he doesn't say anything. So she said, "I love you." And then bus guy still doesn't say anything. And then he gets off the phone. or she gets off the bus, and he just starts making random conversation to himself. I'm like, please don't talk to me, because I was the next person in line for his assault of random conversation. And I wasn't going to give him what school I graduated from, and I don't know how nicely not leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. So that was the highlight of bus life. But the thing I hate about it was where I work and where I live is 20 minutes cruising down the street. When I take the bus, it's an hour and a half, plus however long it is where you got to get to where you got to get to. So that's inconvenient. But price-wise, I bought a 3-day passes for $20. No, yeah, $10. Yeah, $10. So that saves me in gas that I didn't have to drive. I'm spending like, what, $30, $40 a week on gas. But and the bus does drop me off in front of my school, and fairly close to where I live, like a block away. I need that. So yeah, bus life. I started reading again since I did the challenge, and now I want to do something else. Cause I'm like I just do one thing, so now I'm all about reading. And I'm up to my 4th book since the new year started, so I'm off to a good start. The book I'm currently reading is called E-Myth, E as in entrepreneur, and the myth of being an entrepreneur. I've had this book for a while, PDF form, and I started it, but then I found the book just randomly laying around, so I picked it up, and I'm just picking the first book that comes into view when I'm ready to pick the next book. So this book is just talking about how being an entrepreneur, a lot of businesses fail for a lot of reasons. And it really resonated with me because it got me thinking that, and I'll even include, my original was just music, but vloggers, rappers, beat makers, producers, whatever, they're entrepreneurs. They're basically the smallest unit of what you can call an entrepreneur. One person doing everything. And in the same vein, most businesses fail most beat makers and blah, blah, blah fail because it would still follow suit, even though it's just a one person, and they might not even think that they're entrepreneurs. They're bedroom producers, there's rappers or whatever. But no, you are an entrepreneur. So the first problem is because they can't identify what they are, they already set themselves up to fail. You feel me? Every now and then I bounce back and forth. So I'm a businessman, and I'm just a little rapper. But once you understand what you are, once you could identify it, once you could put a name to it, you're in a much better space. So then, one reason why entrepreneurs or small businesses fail is because, and this is the book, paraphrase, through me. So, and again, back in the day and now, the reason I talk about the books I read is because I'm buzzing with book juice. I have no one to talk to about it, so I just jump up on videos, and anyone who dares emails me, they're going to get some part of this. Did you know? So that's why this is. All right, so entrepreneurs fail because they believe that they're too good to work, or it doesn't matter how to get to it, but they believe that if they have their own businesses, life will be easy. They can do it better than whoever. So they set off. They do their own thing. But the problem is, when you have a business, it's not only what you do, it's all the things around it. So I love making music, no doubt about it. Love making videos, no doubt about it. I hate selling. Yeah, I might post a link. I made this, there's a link. But that's not selling. That's not sales. That's like throwing seeds into the distance and hoping they grow. And some people get lucky. There's a lot of luck in this too. But you can't, it's not replicable. Replicable? You can't repeat that process. Although I do. Made a project, here's a link, boom. I mean, I like to relate it to what I'm talking about. So I just dropped my 365 project. I put a link up. Sales as of right now. I had one guy, he bought the tape, the physical USB tape. And I sent that off to him last week. I had one guy, he bought the stream, so he could stream it from whatever. He could download it. 2 people bought that. And then 1 person bought the album. That wasn't really being promoted, but it's on there. So 3 sales, so 3.5. I'm happy. I love when my phone goes pling, pling, and I look like, oh, someone bought this. And I'm like, oh, man. But if you put it in perspective, that ain't enough to pay for, I guess all those sales can pay for my phone. My phone is $60. But it wouldn't pay for my phone, my Dropbox, and my internet that I use, like my storage, like my cloud-based stuff. So I'm already in a hole, a deficit. So now it comes back to the morning. So it comes back to, I lost my thought. So it comes back to
It's a military plane.
it comes back to, wow, I'm just losing my thought. It comes back to the fact that I made the sales, but it's not helping me much because I didn't plan to sell it. I was just so focused on making the product. As you know, entrepreneurs are making their product and hoping people will buy it. Hoping is not a strategy. It's not gonna. You could hope, pray, and all that, but you need a strong whatever. So back to the book. So a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they don't have a strategy in place. They're just busy, focused on making whatever it is they do or whatever service they provide. But then, and again, I read a lot of these books, so I have my moments where I have these epiphanies. So a lot of artists, they may make themselves really hard to find on the internet. They got weird domain names or rap names, or they got just random shit. So the average person wouldn't just stumble upon them. And then they're like, my store is open. It'd be like if they had a physical store, and instead of putting it in, and let's say money wasn't an option, but instead of buying like a Times Square location, they took some back alley road off in the woods where no one ever goes. And they're sitting there like, no one ever comes to my shop because you put it in the wrong spot. So artists do that all the time. I mean, for the internet, YouTube and all that, tags, hashtags, trends. I'm that guy who put my little shop in the middle of where I'm not doing trending things. Again, as an entrepreneur, that's one of the reasons I fail, because I'm making clear decisions on what I'm going to do when I'm not promoting. And then another thing, entrepreneurs are actually 3 people. This again, the book. 3 people in one. You have the entrepreneur, that's, they call him a technician. So the person, they're really good at what they do. I can make rhymes all day. But then you have your manager, and you have your, I'm sorry, I read the book, I'm still reading it. I didn't take notes. But there's 3 people, manager, technician, and other guy. And they all have different things that they're trying to achieve. So the analogy the book made was, let's say you're trying to lose weight. So maybe one part of you is like, we're going to lose weight. And you go out there and you buy, speaking of. So I went to the store and I bought a digital scale, Bluetooth scale. So I could get on the scale and it would tell me to my iPhone, and I could keep track of weight and all that. So I bought it with the intention I'm gonna use it. But there wasn't batteries. It takes 3 batteries and I have 2. I do have rechargeable batteries, but they're for my beat machine. So I didn't want to use it. So it's been 2 weeks since I had it, but I haven't used it. So my habits, so then that guy who bought the scale, now he's just sitting there. Now it's the other guy who's driving the bus, me. And me is just like, we'll get to it. No rush to get those other batteries. So another part to this entrepreneurial concept is, and this one blew me away, just to say for the entrepreneur that quits their job because they want to not work at a job. That's why they did it. That's their motivation. So they quit their job. They have their own thing. And at first, they're like sailing, smooth sailing, or flying on just good vibes. But then, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, they kind of get stuck because the way traditional entrepreneur business are set up, the moment that they turn around, shit will fall. In the book, they use juggling. So the entrepreneur is juggling. Brum, 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 brum. They're juggling all this shit. The moment they get sick, or they have a family issue, or they want a vacation, they give someone else, and I can never say this in my classroom, they give someone else the other balls to juggle. The smirks and laughs I would get, but you guys are old enough to know what I mean. So you are giving your big balls to someone else to juggle. I said it that way, and I meant it that way, because I mean it how I'm trying to say. But the other person may not be good at juggling your balls. They may let them fall. A couple. I'll stop. But so the entrepreneur is stuck juggling their balls until they stop. And when they stop juggling their balls, it drops. Oh man, I want to do a TED talk like this. But anyway, so it's a trap. You quit your job to be free, but now you're locked in a job so you could pay your bills. And you can't leave it, because if you leave it, your bills won't get paid. And now the next layer comes in. Your family's going to suffer, your kids, and then your customers, those who have come to depend on your products. Your employees, if you have any, they expect you to. And I'm only halfway through the book, so it kind of went through what the problem is and then the different types. And now I'm on chapter 3 that's going to tell you how to break it down. But they did bring up the franchise business model, which I didn't think of franchise for entrepreneur because they're 2 different things. But as the book explains it, which is weird because this book was copyrighted in 1995, but it's still applicable 2024. So the book was saying that because in the story, I mean, he wrote it that way so he could use those analogies, but he's talking to this woman who has a pie shop. And he said, McDonald's is like a perfect business model to follow. And she kind of stuck her nose up like, McDonald's? And he's like, nah, check this out. And he broke it down. I'll break it down for you. So McDonald's, you know the story. So the McDonald brothers were doing McDonald things. And then Ray Kroc, the ice cream guy, machine guy, he comes along and he sees that their system that they have in place is so efficient. The burgers are the same size, the fries are all this. And he was really excited. And then, I think in the movie and in real life, he screwed the brothers out of their money. But that's neither here or there. He had a vision. So he took their system and he took the system and he made it so it could be replicated. So any Joe Schmo that comes into a location, they don't need to reinvent the wheel. They just need to follow the system. So then Ray Kroc, he could sit back. He don't have to be in the shops. He could just come in and then kind of oversee. So he's free to do what he's doing. And then the franchisee, I believe that's what they call it, he just comes in and he just makes sure. So then it's that, and another part to that whole thing is you need to make a business so the lowest common denominator, the lowest person can do it and the system won't break. So, and this is I was always saying, I wish I could find an artist or whoever to work with me because blah, 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 blah. Someone who's at the top of their game. But if they're at the top of their game, it makes it even harder for them for us to be in the same space. But if you can get it down to the lowest, and that's where AI is fucking shit up. Because AI, you don't pay AI. You may pay the subscription fee or whatever, but but if you can get it low enough. So at McDonald's, it's usually a job for kids, college or high school kids. You know, they don't know much. You got to deal with them not going to work and all the other shit, but everything is there for you. Turn that burger over, the beep goes off, open it this, fries go in there, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's very, like, simple. Even a monkey can do it. That's what they always say. But that's the system you have to have in place. We're entrepreneurs, like my business, again, going back to me, what I do is really technical. Like, no one could, it'd be hard for someone who doesn't do exactly what I do to come into my little business and do it. Like, the way I'm talking, that's how I talk. I couldn't really teach them how to, and when you're telling a story, you have to like go off on a tangent, but it gotta still connect to whatever you're talking about. And you gotta switch your hand every 3 seconds so they don't get tired of looking. It's not broken down that way, it's just what I'm doing. And then, yeah. So, almost every business that I have thought of thus far were doomed to fail because they're so me-centric. I mean, I had some bright insight. The headphones, that was a beautiful business model. Get the headphones, put my logo, branding, boom. All I needed was I needed capital. Because right when I started popping off, that's when Beats started popping off. So I needed to compete or somehow deal with that coming in. And then pricing. And really, I just need someone to bounce ideas off of. That's all I ever needed, because my ideas are limitless. But I just, ideas come, and then they kind of float away like floating ideas or something. But yeah, so that's where I'm at the book. So it's really fascinating. I just want to share that. Hopefully, again, hoping someone's like, oh my gosh, I'm reading that book too. And they hit me up, and then we go off and we don't have to build anything. We just like share ideas and make my day. All right. We're going to end on this one. My therapy. Well, school is school. School is school. Some kids still have not come back to school since New Year's and Christmas. A lot of kids, which makes it so hard to teach, because if I start teaching shit, we don't have after school study. Like, it's so weird. They're going to be way behind, so I can't do much. Yesterday I had an observation, and all the other teachers like, oh, I'm so nervous. Like, why am I nervous? You telling me you coming, I will prepare something. On a normal day, like for me, if you really want to observe somebody, you just show up. Like, in fact, you don't even show up. You stand outside the classroom, and then you get the real, because people change up when people are there. But she told me she's coming, so I call her. I said, it was the principal. I said, principal, are you still coming? Because class starts at 8:30. It was 8:29. She's like, oh, don't worry, start without me. Like, how can I start without you? I got a whole lesson plan. I want you to see the beginning so you understand whenever you pop in. So we wait a little bit, and then she comes, and then I start, because my voice was all fucked up. So I told him in the morning, like during the homeroom, I was like, all right, I have the slides, and you're going to read one slide, You're gonna be my voice. And they more or less got it. And I put all the questions on the slide. And after the fact, she's like, "Oh, do you use technology a lot?" Not really, but if I have it, it takes a lot of time to sit. It actually doesn't take that much time to make slides, and I'm actually a good slide maker. But a lot of things, whatever. And then she was just saying she likes this and she likes that. So as far as the teaching aspect, I'm good. It's the content that's hard. Because how do you teach stuff that kids are unable to understand? Like atoms and the cells. And then how do you teach something that I don't understand? Like I need to read it, understand it, so then I could... Plus, my kids be lazy. I gave them an assignment. And then the next day they didn't do it. So I'm like, all right, do it during this period. The whole period, they're just sitting there talking about the game. And I'm like mad. Like I don't want my kids to fail. So I don't know, man. One of the books that I'm going to be reading in the future, like a 2024 book, because I'm curious about how COVID has disrupted the minds of children. I mean, they always say children or whatever, but I believe big events would have traumatic aftershocks, waves, and then technology. I had a kid yesterday, but he does this all the time. They all do it, but this kid in particular, he says, "Oh, I forgot my my sweater vest in the gym." Now, because I know they forget, I say, "Hey, make sure you have everything. Does everyone have everything?" Like I said, almost jokingly. "Everyone have everything?" Everyone's like, "Yeah." We get to the other side of the street, into the side of the school, into our building, and he's like, "But I forgot it." I said, "Do me a favor," because my voice was all like, ask the class. If I asked, make sure you got everything. So he goes, "Did Mr. Bailey ask if everyone has everything?" Someone says, "No." But most say, "Yeah, he did. He did." And one kid actually ran back to go get what he needed. So he's like, "Well, can I go get it?" And I don't want kids like running around. So I'm about to say no. And he turns around, he looks at his chair, and there it is. This boy didn't even go back. Like there's, but it's a consistent thing. They don't even, I'll write the instructions on the board, page 29. I'll say, "Please open to page 29. Someone's sitting, "What page do we go?" Like it's right on the board. Why do I write it on the board if you're not going to look? So I feel, so technology, TikTok algorithms, Instagram, the games, a lot of shit's changed. And we as teachers, we need to figure out how to make it work, because you can't expect them to do it. They're in it. They're of it. But anyway, I went to my therapist. Well, I couldn't go because since my car was, the batteries, whatever, I didn't want to take a bus, especially at night. I don't like being cold and waiting. I could wait all day if it's whatever. Actually, one day I had to go to the post office to send my tape that someone bought. I told them 5 days, and I wanted to get it on 5 days, regardless of how I got there. It was raining, it was cold. So from where the bus stepped me off to the post office, like a good 10-minute walk. So I'm walking in the rain, and then there's no buses. There wasn't like a bus stop, like this little stop. Good morning. So I took an Uber to the supermarket, and then I timed it right so I can get back on the bus. But anyway, so I did a Zoom meeting with the therapist, and we talked about this and that and this. And I started hitting her, I wasn't hitting her physically. I started hitting her with the concept that I'm forming. Because I said, I want to challenge her more, since now I'm paying out of my own pocket. So I want to get something. Because when things are free, it's one thing. When you're paying for it, it's another. So I was just saying that I Just like the trees, birds, and bees were born with specific attributes. Some positive, some negatives, some things that can be changed, some things that are like cancer is cancer. If in your genes, in your lifetime, you're meant to get cancer, like, you know how some people smoke all their life, no cancer, and then someone who never smoked, they get cancer. It's meant to be. So we got all those things that are in the factory. Some things we could change. You can change your hair color. You could wear a weave, whatever. So, and then some people have the tenacity, like me putting a car battery in my car. I'm not worried about it because I looked it up, and probably anything in the car if I have the tools and there's a video or a manual, I could probably do it by myself. I'm not worried. Health stuff scares me. I hate needles. I still don't take pills. At best, I might take cough like NyQuil and Dayquil, but that's about it. Going to the hospital is not on my radar. But other people are different. They get in my classroom, some kid, he got a splinter, and he's like, it's gonna get infected. Now I don't know how long it takes for the infection of a splinter from a ruler happens. I was almost gonna post it on the board just to shut him up because he kept going. But that's him. For me, I wouldn't be thinking infection, just annoyance. Good morning. Just annoyance that it's there and it's whatever. But we're all different. So then my therapist, she said something like, I told her about the bus guy and how I'm impressed with his skill set. He's out here bus pimping, man. He be on the bus picking up. I can't do that. The circumstances that would have to happen for all that would have to be so specific. Maybe I see her reading a book that I'm reading, and we're both reading the same book. We make eye contact. I said, hey. And then she said something like, comparison is the robber of joy. I'm not comparing myself to bus guy. I'm just saying I'm impressed with his bus skills. Because some people, when I'm on the bus, I feel like I got a car, I don't know how I could be macking. Remember Scrubs? I told her, there was a song called Scrubs, and he talked about that. Sitting in your best friend's ride, try to holler at me. But bus guy, he didn't care. And there's a lot of people like that. I think there was a clip, you could Google it, YouTube it, but Cameron was saying he saw, I forget who he said. Let's say Megan Good, but it's not Megan Good. But let's say someone like Megan Good and Cameron there, Nia Long or whatever. And he was like standing outside, his shirt was ripped, he was all sweaty, and he still like hollered at her. He didn't care. But that's a skill, that's a thing. So then she said something. She's like, can I tell you something? And I'm like, sure. Which means she's gonna tell me something about herself, a private, off the record kind of thing, which I love, because that's how I want my conversations to be. We're just real. I keep it real. We both keep it real. That way it's a real conversation. I don't get that a lot. People will tell me just enough, but not enough. And I can't form, I need to base it on some shit. Like if someone says, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm like, I'm doing good. But I'm working paycheck to paycheck. I don't like it, but I'm trying to save up. That's a real thing. And they say, yeah, when in reality, they're borrowing money from whoever. So they're not technically living paycheck to paycheck, or they're not feeling the effects of it because they have someone else that will come in and be like, all right, here you go. I don't have that. I mean, I do have, like, the reason I had to wait a whole week and do the bus ride thing, because if I ask anyone for money, I'm gonna get a speech. Why don't you have money? Bird. I don't want the speech. Fuck all that shit. I don't have money because I don't have money. I bought other shit. That's why. The end. You gonna give me the money or not? This way I feel it was my mistake for not having it. It's not even my, it is what it is. Other people, you could talk and it goes out one ear and out the other. So you could talk all you want. Like when I talk to my students, they don't even look at me. They do this. And I don't even, I say what I gotta say. All right, so I do this now. I'll be like, come to my office. And there's a little chair by my desk and I turn it towards me. Like this happened yesterday. This one boy, all year, he just asked me these random questions. What page is it on? I'm like, I wrote it on the board. Oh, are we going outside? Don't you see your classmates putting on their coats? What do you think? Oh, I gave him, I brought candy canes because there's 45 cents for a box of 12. So I bought 8 boxes. I don't let them eat in the class because I don't want them, because they're little slobs. So I gave them some candy canes. I give this boy the candy cane. Everyone at his table are eating the candy cane. He looks at, even I am eating the candy cane. Everyone's eating candy. He's like, can I eat the candy cane? I'm like, and that was a candy cane that broke the camel's back. I'm like, come to my office. I said, listen, all day you've been asking me these questions. Why don't you just wait to see or look around? He didn't look at me, and he's just. But yeah, so back at the therapist. She was just telling me a story about herself. I mean, I say all that just to say this, but I like when she tells me these stories because maybe she believes we're becoming closer. Really, it's fuel. It's ammunition. That's how I look at it. So she said when she goes out with her husband, people always seem to come up to her and smile. Or people always seem to come up to her and talk to her and tell her about their life. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's why you're a therapist. I'm not that kind of guy. You tell me stuff, you might get a but I'm not. Like when my kids got boo-boos and scratches, I'm like, so what do you want? I'm not giving you a hug, and I'm not going to tell you it's going to be okay. I give you a Band-Aid if that's what you require. That's just me. As I said, my dad gave me a pat on the arm earlier. That's how I was raised, so it's hard for me to like show those kind of things. But the therapist was saying that people naturally do that. And she says, because she looks at people in the eyes and she smiles. People feel whatever. I don't necessarily look people in the eyes. Like the whole time I'm doing this, I'm not like this. I'm like kind of, I don't, every now and then. Because that's, again, how I was raised. And I just thought about it this morning. And then she said, you know, she smiles at people. Smile is like open, blah, blah, blah. Smiling. And I told her I don't like my smile. I don't like my teeth. They're crooked. And she's like, but you smile when we're talking. Like, I know I smile when I know someone, you know, whatever, we smile. And I know I smile on YouTube. I smile when I'm on stage. I smile when I'm making music. I smile when something I read in a book makes me smile. I smile seeing a little chipmunk. I smile at different times. But if I'm just walking, what the hell am I smiling for? That's weird. If I see someone, it's just not me. I was told growing up, you shouldn't smile. It's a sign of weakness. And to this day, I've never been perceived as weak. Weak enough? I don't know. But I used to walk around with my little chain, bling bling, 14 karat, white gold with little gold in the middle and the little gold on the end tips with a matching bracelet with a rolling on the wrist. I almost got the pinky ring, but then I decided to focus on music and instead of looking like a pimp. But I would walk up and down Philly streets. I mean, Temple's Temple. People do get shot around it, but nowhere crazy. Nowhere crazy, but I wasn't worried that someone's gonna snatch my chain and all that, because I just kept to myself, whatever. And when I went to Japan, blah, blah, blah. But other people, they seem to always get robbed. People take them as easy marks. So It is what it is. So she's like, you gotta smile, and it's just a hard thing to do. I don't have that inclination to just smile at people. I have to force it. And a forced smile is not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? In the club, when I hear that music, I put on, yesterday I was on the bus. I just got on the bus and I just got my battery. So I'm walking around with this big ass battery. And I get on the bus and the thought came up with, from you when you do it, turn it down, talk it to the floor, and off the way to booty. And I put it on and I'm just bopping on the train, or the bus. That song hits. It's old. Waka Flocka, Wale, and Roscoe. And it, certain songs, when I hear it, it makes me smile. But yeah. So I guess that's where we end. End of my story. So now I'm gonna turn on my car, see if I can make it to the auto shop and sell my battery. Apparently when you buy a battery, they buy it back for $23, the core or some shit. I'm gonna see if they can go check out the car, make sure it's installed right and it sounds right. And then the plan is to finish my book by Monday. Oh, I did this. My kids always ask me about why don't we learn business stuff. So I had a 10-minute business lesson for them. And what was amazing is they had really good insight. Here's my tape. It costs $10. How much should it cost? $10. How many do you think I sold? 65. Wow, I wish. And then but you gotta take away the tax, and you gotta take away the cost of manufacturing. Wow. When I was 12, I wasn't thinking like that. But they got Google, and they got YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. But what I was trying to impress upon them is, so before we even had the little business lesson, I'm the reason we go to school so you guys can learn how to interact with each other. Wow. You gotta learn to interact with each other. What is that? A bunch of people running. Maybe you guys seen them in the back before me. I believe they are Lehigh University. But anyway, you gotta learn to interact with each other, and you gotta learn how to keep track of your stuff. Because if you lose your keys to your building, you might have to make another one. That's gonna cost you. If you drop a bag of merchandise somewhere, you can't call the office for them to go get it for you. I think for next Friday, this is what we try to do on Friday, I'm gonna make a list of all the things that if you don't pay it, or if you forget it, and I want them to guess how much it's gonna cost. Lose a passport, and you need it tomorrow, you gotta expedite that shit. If you lose the house keys, and you gotta get new locks for all the doors, you gotta pay for that shit. You lose your license, you don't pay your parking ticket, I wanna put some life skills in them. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. I'm sorry for my voice, although I love, if there was a female who had this voice all the time, that raspy voice, I'd be in heaven. What'd you say, baby? I said it. Well, not that voice, but the smoker's voice, without smoking. Maybe she quit smoking, but she's permanently with the smoker's voice. In heaven. All right. Peace.